Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, episode number 228 on deck. Good show lined up in front of us. We've got the folks from Road Rage Entertainment hanging out. We've got the folks from Spinning Wheels Productions here as well, and then we've also got Vic Whaley. We're going to start off with him. Before we get too deep into it, we don't want to miss a couple of housekeeping notes. Tristan Young, congratulations to him. He builds out of that Ingram Fabrication Shop up in Canada, which they got a pretty nice start to the year for themselves. Tristan coming away with his first big win, $10,000 over at River City. Nice. Rampage, and then Christopher Ames took first, and Terry Green took second out in Governor over the weekend. So good wins for those guys. Say hi, go around the room, and let everybody know who's who. Right here we have Brian Leonard and Jeremy Gully. Jeffy's Fab Farm event is June the 16th. That is going to be, in a second, Josh Decker, as long as he stops dodging. Nobody really cares that you're here. No. And of course, Brian Tompkins hanging out there with Jake Sherman. Road Rage Entertainment's Derby is June the 2nd. So before we get into all the stuff that's happening here in studio at the North Park Building at Academy Square, we've got Vic Whaley joining us on the line. Vic living up to his nickname, Mr. Excitement, over the weekend. Vic, man, how are you?
I'm doing good.
That's good. And in all seriousness, how are you doing after taking a couple bullet shots after a Derby over the weekend?
Well, I'm just a little sore, but I mean, luckily everything missed the arteries, and I'm just thankful to be here.
Well, I mean, we're glad that everything turned out okay. You know, to be in a situation like that, everything sort of got taken apparently way out of context to the point where guns were drawn at a demolition derby. I don't think any of that is necessary. So to say, we've often joked about how we all have jobs that we got to get back to on Monday. Nobody's a full-time derby driver, and this was a bit of an extreme. You ended up winning the Derby, correct?
Yes, I did.
And what happened in the instances that followed that got us to the point where we're at right now?
Well, the guy's son drove in the demolition derby, and it was actually his first time driving, and the kid had an absolute blast. Mm-hmm. And this actually had nothing to do with the derby. Mm-hmm. My daughter and this guy's daughter had words before, and then after the derby was over, the guy's daughter started messaging my daughter, threatening her and everything, and I said, that's it, I'm going to go put a stop to it. I'm going to tell them to stop. Sure. And then I got over there, and everything escalated, and then a fight broke out, and then I got shot.
No, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this was the first time you've been shot.
Yes, and hopefully the last.
There's so many different things at play with all this, but I think the one that takes the most precedent out of all of it, beyond your well-being, is the fact that the community was so fast to rally around you.
I'm overwhelmed with the Derby world. I mean, they're awesome. All the fans and the people that's contacting me and the support. Like I said, I'm just overwhelmed for it.
How many battery charges did you have to go through as the messages from Facebook and text messages and things like that came in?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
My phone's been blowing up ever since Friday.
I bet.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's. I don't think anybody's going to be too surprised by that.
I think that.
No.
The thing is, Vic, is like you're an icon in the sport, right? And a lot of us look up to be somebody like you know, and we're always fighting to be to that level. And then to see something bad happen to somebody like that, it brings it back to that could happen to any of us. I mean, life's precious. It's like my old lady told me in the morning, and I was upset about it, you know, and I looked on Facebook, and it was just everybody. I mean, it's upsetting. I mean, that should never happen in this sport. And we're sorry that it happened to you, man. Everyone was definitely thinking about you. I thought about you all day. you know.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen to anybody. I mean, and all it boils down to, the wrong people have guns. I mean, that's all it boils down to.
No doubt.
That's it.
I'd woken up there in the night, and I happened to get on Facebook and looked, and I saw something about prayers for Vic, and I'm like, what? And then, but I'd seen a picture before that where Vic was standing there with the checkered flag or the trophy or something, and I'm like,
yeah.
So then I started scrolling down through, and I had a hard time getting back to sleep. Like, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, we've touched on it before where, the demolition derby community, I mean, I think it's safe to say that it's pretty much a blue-collar community. You know what I mean?
Sure,
it's,
definitely.
guys that get up and work for a living and,
Definitely.
get dirty hands, and except for Josh. And, that's kind of, that's kind of the community that we are. And you don't think about people like that getting, having, a gun and you think about having a gun, but not using it in a fight after a demolition derby. And
Absolutely.
Vic obviously said it wasn't, part of it had to do with the demolition derby, but it was just so shocking. And I mean, congratulations on the win, by the way. I mean, I guess that kind of goes by the wayside, but another
That'll be
win.
a special trophy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a special trophy.
Yeah.
Got some heavy metal to stay with you for a while.
Yes, I do. I got one bullet left in my leg. They just said they'll leave it there because it's not hurting anything.
There you go.
Was it a tough derby, or did you just outdrive everybody like normal, or what happened?
It got down to, there was a few good cars there. It got down to the top 5, and I mean, the top 5 cars was, good cars, and just had to gradually pick them off.
Cool.
It's not the first time we've heard you tell that story. Got down to the top 5 cars, they were good, and I had to pick them off.
Sound for her.
So true.
This was one of the hometown fairs that you tend to hit every year, or was this off the beaten path a little bit?
No, it was 7 miles from my house. It's a hometown show to me.
Okay.
Just part of
So
it, right?
you've had some success there, and your reputation preceded you in registering for this one.
Yes. A friend of mine, Randy Schwarzkopf, he's promoting derbies, and he was putting it on.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Randy's
So,
won Mayhem a couple times.
yes.
Yep.
So one of the reports, and you can correct me where I go astray here, is that it was a 45 and you caught the second bullet with your teeth. Is that?
Yeah. No, it's I'm pretty sure it was just a little 22, and I got hit twice, and that's pretty well it.
Yep. And
Twice is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now on to the important question: Are you going to be able to go to Mayhem here in a month and defend your title, go for 3 in a row, or what?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Cool. Now, have you made that decision, or has the doctor made that decision? That was pretty quick.
Well, let's see. When I was at the hospital, they did not give me any restrictions or anything. So
Impressive. Now,
that's cool.
what does the wife think? Does she think maybe you should take it easy and not derby, or doesn't she really have a say in it?
well, she's got a say in it. I figured by the time Mayhem gets here, I'll be okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't let me go out the last 2 days to do anything.
Oh, yeah.
The longer I stay in the house with her, the more she'll want to shoot me.
Yep, we all know that feeling.
At least ham it up a little bit. Maybe, working an extra sandwich or two. Oh, I'm hurting, honey. Can you help me out?
Oh, goodness.
That's crazy. I don't even know what to ask, man. I was like, I was pumped to have you on today, but it's like, I don't even know what to ask about it. I don't want you to relive it. I feel bad even asking you to relive that thing. It was crazy.
10 years ago, though, you used to the fighting in the pitch.
Oh,
Yeah, but It's that's actually cut down a that's lot.
Oh,
kind of gone to the wayside. Even
Yes.
just the fisticuffing and to hear that, I mean, it was. I was kind of shocked when I seen it on
Well,
Facebook.
that's it, and not to get into politics and that kind of stuff. Everybody obviously here knows who kind of what I do and things, and I carry a gun on me 24/7. I do that right now. The fact is I'm not afraid to get my ass kicked. It's not, you don't carry a gun and have it be, in lieu of getting an ass kicking.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I could still get my ass kicked and carry a gun. You know what I'm saying? And it's the guys.
Right.
There's a lot of guys out there now that say, "Well, I got a gun. I'm not going to get my ass kicked." Well, you know what? I can still give out some lumps and still take some lumps.
and then get up and either shake hands, drink a beer, or whatever. It doesn't have to go to that level, man. It's just
Absolutely right.
That's a level of escalation that didn't need to go there.
That's it, and it's not good for anybody. It's
Definitely not
No,
good for
and
the
it-
sport.
And this right here, I mean, I hate to say it, but it gives our sport a bad name.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
It does.
Yes, there's no question. And then, just to find out that it wasn't even necessarily directly connected to the Derby itself is even more where Demolition Derby as a sport's going to pay a penance that was somebody else's sin,
Right.
So, Vic, what was, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but were those people, I saw something that they were charged, but have they been charged? Do you know what they were charged with? Are they both in jail? Are they in jail?
I can't really say right now because the investigation's still going
Understood.
on.
sure.
But I know they was arrested that night and they did post bond. And I went down. I talked to our state's attorney today, and he told me more of what they're going to charge him with and everything. So,
Yep.
like I said, I can't really say right now.
Understood.
Yeah, gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nobody's gonna push the issue on it. I don't feel like tonight's the night to opt to go hard hitting. You know what I mean?
No.
Might not be the time. I mean, it's. I'm just glad that we can get on and joke a little bit about it. And you picked up a win in your hometown fair, which is always good. We've often talked with Vic on his appearances about how he's a name driver. He's an icon.
Totally.
Somebody that's recognized wherever he goes, but he still makes it a point to go support his hometown fairs, even if it's something that's pre-run or left over or things along those lines. So the fact that it happened close to home, that there's that statistic that all the accidents happen within 7 miles of the house.
Yeah, true.
And another good thing about it, I had my middle daughter with me that she ain't never rode in the Derby, and she got to ride with me, and we won.
That's
That's
Oh,
cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's
But
fantastic.
your ups and downs in one night, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Chris, how did it work that one time you rode the Derby? I keep forgetting.
The difference between Vic and I is I got to ride in an ambulance for about 5 feet, and then I drove myself to the hospital. He got to ride in a helicopter, which is way better.
And that's a sore subject too, because they wouldn't let me fly it.
How do you feel about helicopters?
I don't mind them.
No.
I kind of liked it. I just wish I could have seen more.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
probably
probably-
didn't have too good a view from where he was laying.
Yeah.
No.
Did you know at that
He
point,
was the top of it.
Yeah.
how long was it before you knew that the first bullet had passed through completely?
I really didn't know I shot. Didn't know I shot twice.
Wow.
And then the next thing I know, I kind of come to and was laying there on the ground. They was holding me down so I wouldn't move because they didn't know what kind of damage was done.
Sure. I mean, that's reasonable. You don't want to move anybody.
Vic, back to Demolition Derby for a second. This year, I think they're going back to more like a street stock for Mayhem, correct?
Yes, bone stock.
Yep. So, what do you think about that rule change?
Well, last year was bone stock too.
Was it?
But this year he went with 80 and newer,
Oh,
Yeah, that was. a big
and
change.
that I don't know yet.
Yeah.
what? Probably going to take a couple Vics, or
I'm going to take a 91 Grand Marquis.
yep, that's cool.
I think last year I think I watched your heat. You were like the king of sideswiping. He is so good at right before the hit, he sideswipes, no damage. Sideswipes, no damage. You are like the king of that, man. I was watching you.
Rubbin's racing, ain't it?
It was good, man. You're good at that. You are really good at that, actually. You are very good at that. But you make contact,
That's all it takes.
Exactly.
I like watching you. Your patience is I like watching guys with patience like yours because I don't have it. It's pretty awesome to watch.
Well, sometimes I got it and sometimes I don't.
I was going to say, isn't it still fun once in a while to let Mr. Excitement out of his cage, though?
Yes, it is. That's like a spring explosion, and I wasn't going to let them guys just tear my car up. I figured I'd build it. I was going to help tear it up.
I seen it after the heat, a picture that you put up, and I said, what the hell happened in that heat? I had to go back and watch it because it's like, what could have happened? His car got junked like that in the heat.
It's funny. Josh doesn't have the patience of Vic, and you also don't have the checks on the wall either.
Yeah,
Nothing.
anything. Put anything in it, I don't have any of it.
That's funny.
Well, when I first started, I didn't have any patience either.
Yeah, but Josh has been doing it for like 20 years.
Stop. I'm going to be like you someday, sir. That's my goal.
Beyond Mayhem, what else have you got planned? That car.
That's pretty much it.
Any of the cars that you've run this year going to run again?
Well, the car I actually run Friday night, I run it 3 times last year.
That's awesome.
All right.
I didn't see. Of course, you just seen the after pics. The car looked pretty rough. I mean, or is it just appear rougher than it is?
It appears rougher than it is.
Cool.
Now, and your daughter rode with you in that car?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Was she telling you how to drive while you were in there, or was,
No, she was too busy. She had a smile from ear to ear the whole time.
I can imagine.
Vic, I got an idea.
You let her run the shifter or anything, or you just sit over there and watch what we can do.
You know what we should
No,
start?
she was just sitting over hanging on.
We should start a company. I got an idea, Chris, here. Okay, listen here. Yeah, I know you love my ideas. This guy always got them. Okay, we need to start a company, and we rent the passenger seat
Let me
to
just
Vic.
cut you. Let me just cut you off real quick, right
Yeah,
there.
go.
Okay. Hey, Vic.
I could sell seats for $1,000 to part. I would pay to sit with him in the heat. If you could go to Metal Mayhem and sit next to him and watch him drive, people would pay money for that. Mm-hmm. Tell me I'm wrong on that. Start the company, and Chris and I'll get on it.
wrong direction.
No.
So, Vic, quick question about the ride along that you were just talking about. Did she take the trophy to school today?
No, she's actually graduated.
Oh, she's out.
Yep, she's out.
Time's gone way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
Jeez.
But I got another one coming up that's she's still in school and she helps me quite a bit.
That's cool.
Nice.
That's cool. It's a heck of a weekend.
Yes, it was.
Well, is there anybody? First off, is there anything that we missed? Is there anything we missed recounting this weekend? I mean, it's a pretty cool story. 7 miles from home, got to ride with your daughter, come away with the win, and you've got the story of a lifetime that you got the lifetime to tell. So that's kind of cool. Is there anything that we missed?
No, I'm just thankful for everybody that took the time to call me, text me, post on Facebook. I mean, like I said, the Derby world, we're all just a big family.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And I appreciate everything.
Is there anybody else that you wanted to make mention of, or any of the messages that came in that hit you particularly close to home?
Just the messages that my daughter's posted and everything. They're just, I got some really good kids, and my wife is awesome. My whole family that's really close to me down here. It's tough, man.
Well, I'm glad everything had a positive end, and the big story again is the way that the Derby community once again came together and support, and ultimately you're okay. I mean, you're well on your road to being all right, and everybody should expect to see you at Mayhem, which is fantastic news, all things considered.
Yeah, I don't think a couple bullets are going to slow me down.
I like the sounds of that.
Can we look forward to like the next 6 months of like these Chuck Norris type memes?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Well, Vic, man, congratulations on the win. I appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little bit, and we look forward to checking in with you again after Mayhem concludes.
All right, thanks, guys.
Vic, thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye now. There goes Vic Whaley with heck of a Derby story.
He was funnier than shit.
So let's
It's cool
see.
that he's laughing about it, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean
It's good that he can laugh about it. You know?
Agreed.
It's
that's a
a
big
really
part of
good
it.
thing. It could have got a lot worse,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a good thing it didn't.
I mean, just think about
Thank
it.
God
All
it
that ball
didn't.
had to do was go one way or the other.
Thank
just a
God it
little
didn't
bit,
go
and,
any other way.
You know,
That's all you can say.
it's crazy.
If you want to learn how to drive, he's a guy to watch. If you're trying to hone your skills, I remember watching his heat, and I bet there was 20 minutes where he didn't hit with the front or the back of his car. He slides into things, and it's really impressive to watch. And when guys, what he's good at is when somebody has a shot on him and they're coming. He is so good at angling himself where he doesn't take a lot of damage. He glances it. It's like, God, this guy's good. You know.
It's like watching Mike DeFreesia.
Yeah,
Florida.
totally. There's some guys that they have it, you know.
Some guys are drivers.
And then other of
Rick
us
Clark's
just
a lot of that. He just slides
Yes.
the car around a lot, and if you're going to hit Rick, you're probably going to hit him where he wants you to hit him.
Do you remember Rick Clark versus Mike DeFreesia? I think it was Virginia.
No, it was Clarion. It was Clarion.
Clarion.
What a battle!
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, what a
That was
battle!
awesome.
You know,
That's
Yeah, he
where
pulled
he
the-
busted out
Pull out the crowbar to
The
get
bar
the
chuck,
bumper off
yeah.
the pillar.
I love
And
watching
And
battles.
Mike had flames that were 8 feet high out of the stack.
He was breaking up. I think he was on 7 cylinders, right,
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah,
Oh.
he lost his coolant really early in that, and that thing just kept screaming.
Man, Mike's had a lot of. Watched him and Steve
battles.
Siopo once. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
Well, let's do this here and run through this stuff. Spinning Wheels Productions. We got Jeremy Gully, Brian Leonard with Spinning Wheels, and we've got Jake Sherman in the house with Road Rage. Spinning Wheels Productions. Their season's going to start on the 16th of June at the Otsego County Fairgrounds in Morris, New York. It's the Jeffy's Fab Farm Mini Meltdown. 4,000 to win compacts. 4,000, 2,000, 1,000 for the top three. $1,000 for Mad Dog. The field's full. They got one and done classes as well. 500 to win plus 75% of the entries goes back in for the economy V8, limited weld V8, full size trucks and compact trucks. Online, you can find more about the schedule. SpinningWheelsProductions.com. We'll be talking about that, and then also we're going to be talking about this event too through the final 2/3 of the show. Road Rage Entertainment's date is going to be June the 2nd at the Broome County Fairgrounds at Whitney Point. It's the Team Derby. The compact portion is sold out. There's a couple spots left in the trucks, and there's a couple spots left in the full-size V8 and the team bracket. And then there's one and dones for the full-size V8, the junk run, the compacts. 1,000 to win guaranteed for each of those. RC Derby with JMW Motorsport. The Power Wheels are on the card. Jason Sauer is going to be making the trip up. The Kids Zone and play area is going to be open, so if the kids get bored and they don't want to be at the Derby anymore, you've got an option to drop them off with a couple area teachers stepping in to do that. So it's a couple really exciting shows that are coming up here in the not too distant future for New York as we move into the start of our Demolition Derby season. So starting off with Brian and Jeremy talking a little bit about the Mini Meltdown. I saw Jeffy making some posts today. You guys have got to be pretty excited with how fast that sold out. I mean, this thing's become a monster of its own.
Yeah, it's time's getting short, and nerves are getting getting the best of me a little bit. But I think we'll be all right. We're doing good in our filler classes. Our compacts are sold out, but the 105 compacts sold, I think, in like 3 or 4 weeks. And compact trucks are really surprising me. I think we're at like 12 or 13 compact trucks.
Why are you surprised by that?
It's just early in the spring. Usually the compact trucks you see in the late in Brookfield usually gets 30, 35 compact trucks, but a lot of the younger guys are going that direction, and I think because some of the younger guys got a little nervous to jump into a 4,000 to win compact, so they decided to build a compact truck instead.
Sure.
Which the Mini Meltdown can be won by anybody, in my opinion. It's it's going to be a different track for a lot of the out-of-towners. Definitely going to be a different pace than what some people are used to, and guys that know the hometown track might have a slight advantage, But regardless, we've got a couple limited welds. I got one in from Ohio yesterday. I got a limited weld coming out of Virginia. So I think we're up to 7 or 8, maybe 8 states now, plus Canada represented.
Wow. Those heats, you've got 15 to 17 in each of the heats, so it's going to be busy, but there's a lot of space on it.
15 each heat.
Yep.
Seven heats. And then we're going to run 2 consies due to
And
the fact.
Well, hang on. For the heat side of things, that includes the extra 4 spots, correct?
Yeah,
that does.
105. That's a 105. Yeah. 7 heats total. And,
How many qualify out of that?
2.
So it's going to be. Yeah.
It's got to go. It's going down to 2 because we're going to take 2 per heat. That's 14, and then we're going to take 2 out of each consi. There's 2 consis. That's another 4. So that's 18 car main.
Right.
Which we wanted to. Morris is a good sized track, but we wanted to make sure that we can keep some room on there to maneuver. So that's 18 cars out of the field is all that's going to make the main.
I've had a lot of people from out of town messaging me thinking that this pace is going to slow down because there's 105 cars running for $4,000. Trust me, these heats. If you think you're going to bag through these heats, you better hold on because these guys. I have guys that are specifically going to eat baggers. Right? I mean, there's guys do not care about the $4,000.
That $1,200 Mad Dog.
there's a lot of mad.
$1,000 mad
Yeah,
dog.
$1,000 mad dog.
$1,000 mad dog will change that.
And for anyone running in the heats, we're taking 2, but we're giving away a mad dog. Okay, we're getting a trophy. Jeffy is actually doing these trophies, and trust me, wait till you see these things. We got to sneak peek at them.
Yeah.
They're so badass. Jeff is
awesome.
thinking outside the box. You're gonna love it, and you get a set of stacks for being mad dog. So go trash your stacks because you're gonna get some brand new
For each heat?
for each mad dog in the heats.
Yeah.
7 sets of compact headers.
Yep. Jeff has stepped up like you guys can't imagine. I mean, Jeff's doing so many awesome things for us. He just wants to give back to the drivers, and he's giving away a lot that day.
I was going to ask if there was, because I mean, I've been to Morris, I think 3 times. And every time I've been down there, it's been every class has been wide open.
Wide
I was
open.
wondering if there was, the local guys, the local crew would be, running because
There's actually quite a few locals that are
That's
running.
awesome,
Some of the best that we have hometown. Some,
All in one heat.
all in one heat. But,
Well, that's not as much fun. That's we were talking. Jamie Eldridge Jr. is he's signed up, and him and his brother both. And that's I actually saw him last week. We were out to dinner, and I asked him how his car's coming. He said good. And I said, so this is going to be the most fun derby we've ever had. He's like, why is that? I said, because you're not going to know anybody on the track.
Right.
I said, you're not going to have to worry about somebody getting mad because
Right.
you weren't supposed to hit them. Just go out and have a good time and have fun, and So he's I know he's looking forward to it. It's him and his brother's first time going to a big show like this. So, but I mean that was a great thing. When I ran Coos, I mean it was so much fun just go out there and run against people you don't know. It was really fun.
Yeah.
So
And you're making a name. A lot of these guys, you never run against all these guys. It's a big event. We finally are having a big compact event. You can make a name for yourself today. I mean, that day you show up, you can go and beat some of the best in the country. And if you qualify out of your heat, you better feel pretty goddamn good about yourself.
Yeah.
You make it into that feature. Let's imagine you make it into the good money of the feature. You got to feel damn good about yourself beating the best in the state in compacts.
There's a lot of guys out there that are role models to the younger guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys that have been running 20 years that are running compacts, or 15 years. And some of these young guys that have decided, hey, I'm gonna run this, they step up and they get on the track with, either Jake, Andy, there's the Kings, there's several guys that are, kind of in our area it's a big deal to run against them.
Yes.
And if you get to the point where you're gonna run against them, or you can make it, even if you come out of a heat win against, one of the King boys out in Western
Henderson.
Henderson.
Yeah.
That would I've been running 25 years, and I'd still be excited if I
Absolutely.
got a heat
That's
win with one of them.
That's actually my heat, and I tell you what, I'm looking at it. I don't plan coming to make the feature, but if I do, I'd be stoked because that's going to be
So you're going to drive your normal pace then?
Well, I kind of move around a little bit at my normal pace. I'm not going to drive the same pace that I drove 20 years ago, because but
Every time I've seen you drive at Morris, you've drove pretty fast paced.
Yeah, if I can keep a car running.
Or out of limp mode.
Yeah, get out of limp mode.
Yeah, Jake's famous for bringing them Cadillacs because they go in limp mode, and he's got an excuse.
There you go. No, I think I pretty much I haven't picked up the car. At least I don't think I picked up the car I'm going to run yet. But
Yeah, a lot of time.
Plenty of time. It's a crazy stuff. I think them when you start looking at them economy rules and stuff with the shows at, and I look at the rules and I think about all the old school stuff, and I'm like, man, a weekend I could have this car done.
Yes.
And I got people asking me questions later a month ago or 2 months ago, or you guys say, it's like, this is like a weekend build, and so that's my plan is I'll put something together and make some junk, and then I'll find a beer tent and enjoy the rest of the show.
I think a guy that puts his front bumper on really well and drives smart can win this just as much as a guy that puts 2 months into building his.
Yeah,
I really truly feel that way.
Yeah. Our rules allow you to do some stuff, but I have a funny feeling if you do some things, overdo some things, it can hurt you as much as it can help you.
Totally.
Just because you can don't mean
Just
you should.
because you can don't mean you should. That's right. And unfortunately, a lot before Facebook, we all had to go through this trial and error part.
Yeah.
Before Facebook and We Crash, and unfortunately, some of the guys are going to learn that trial and error coming up quick with this rule set. Believe me.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if it's kind of a milder build and you make it too hard, then something's going to give. It's not going to be what you want to give. So,
well, we allow you to do a lot of do some things, and like I said, I just think it's gonna. Some of these guys are gonna. Oh, I can do this, so they're going to, and it's gonna. They're not gonna look at the geometry. They're not gonna look at the weight. They're not gonna look at the leverage. And next thing you know,
So we're talking about bumpers, right?
bumper's going to be up over the stack.
I mean, Decker and I were talking about it on the way up, right? Every time you fix one thing to try to make it more hard,
It finds the weakest point.
Yep, the next part
Exactly.
goes. It's a waterfall, right?
And back in the old days, we used to let things bend in the spots you knew they were going to bend,
Yeah.
right? And an old, let's say you're running a GM, it's going to bend here, here, and here, and you
Yeah.
plan for that. Well, in compacts, you keep throw these crazy bumpers. Even in V8s, you throw these full bumpers on a stock V8. It's not the right answer.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I've seen a couple derbies where they're like just stuffed right into the tires and in one shot. It's just sometimes you got to let something give. Something's got to take the shock.
Yeah.
And well, we seen that in Blizzard Bash alone. Blizzard Bash, everyone was coming out with these stupid, crazy hard bumpers, and this year you started seeing guys put a crush zone right in the front of their bumper, like thinner steel material to let it absorb a little bit, then the hard. So guys are starting to, there's only so hard you can make them.
Well, I think that might have been to work on the concussions too. So you didn't get concussed until like the second round instead of the first round.
So it's always good. It's always a good move. Let's jump off here real quick and talk a little bit about some of the places that we've been where we saw that bumper game come into play. Stern Dirt Racing overseas, May Mania. That's the team show coming up on the 18th and the 19th in Salt Lake City. That's the new Spirit of 47 Arena. Multi-million-dollar complex, and it was built specifically for rodeos, but Stern Dirt got their hands on it. Now it's going to be the home of that giant May Mania show. We had Johnny on last week. We're going to catch up with him again next week as we get ready to make the final run-up to May Mania. Online for additional information, sterndirtracing.com. After that, they are going to go back to the Golden Spike. We'll get more details on that Monday, but the next big one beyond May Mania is the Wasatch Wipeout. It's got that same 2-day schedule. The Heat's on Friday, the Grudges and the Mains on Saturday. Heber City, Utah, the home of that one. $90,000 in prize money. Winner takes home $25,000. Fifth through last gets $1,000. It's a $5,000 Mad Dog Award. Farm trucks, front wheel drives, and passengers each having a $4,500 payout for those divisions. Damn. All going to be one and done. SternDirtRacing.com for more details.
Farm trucks, $4,500 payout. Farm trucks.
And actually, that's not with the payout. They'll share like $250 or $300 among everybody who enters, and then save the rest for first, second, and like a $500 Mad Dog.
Badass.
Yeah,
Well, if you go to Utah, you got to look at the Mad Dog prizes because. I mean, let's be honest, you're going to junk shit pretty quick.
I think I could have drove to Utah this weekend.
Yeah.
Bash for Cash is sitting in the wings as well. That's going to be the next one we're at. That's Memorial Day weekend, the 26th through the 28th of May.
We're actually in Utah before that.
Yeah, that's
That's what he said. This was the week
sorry.
after.
so. You can do it. Go ahead. You can see it from where you're at.
I actually heard you say
Feel
something
free.
different.
Go ahead.
Huh?
I got time. Go ahead. Do the read.
No.
All right. If you're here more than once a year, you know how to
This
do
is
that.
why I don't come more. Dad. No.
Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio, near at Big Rock, 11,000 win kicker class. It's open to new and old iron this year. Old iron bonus is an extra $3,000 if an old iron can win it, or $1,500 goes to the highest placing old iron if it's won by a metric. The turn back the clock class has the reverse of that. If a metric wins, they get an extra $3,000, or there's an extra $1,500 reserved for the highest placing metric in the event the division is won by an old iron. Entry 10,000 to win DEC Hunters compact class. It's not going to be one that you want to miss either. It gets long, yes, but it's drivers on display. It's so much fun to watch those guys just pick those little cars apart. Frank the Tank Old School Wire class is back on the card. Full-size trucks, youth compacts, the compact trucks. Those all still have openings. It's only $75 to enter. 80s Wire class and street stock divisions at this point are full. And right now we are looking at an entry list of approaching 600 entries. Now we're going to fast forward to the end of the year. September the 22nd is Brookfield Wheel Days. John King and his crew oversee that one. It's the annual fall cleanup show. They draw 150, 175 cars. There's 14, 15 heats, a couple consolation rounds, and then we get into the main events. It's at the Madison County Fairgrounds in Brookfield. You can jump online and find more information, facebook.com/KingsSmash'em or online, MadisonCountyFairNY.com. Kings, unfortunately, not able to run youth division derbies, which has changed their lineup a little bit. They've got an entire speedway schedule that's going to be coming up, and also they oversee the Madison County Fair in Brookfield, July 12th and 14th. The Fair Championship pays $1,000 for first place in compacts and $1,500 to the winner of the full size. So we hit on a couple different things there. Most importantly was the the attention that got paid to Utah and what they do for bumpers, they've sort of been forced into a situation where they allow the homemade bumpers just because of the way that they hit, because of what's available to them out there. And now we've seen that sort of work its way in, and our rules here are becoming pretty similar to what they've got out there.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's a dollar value. I mean, as drivers, it's getting ridiculous to pay. Brian said last week someone was selling $700 V bumpers.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm not paying for cars. I don't want to pay the cars anymore. We need to start making it cheaper for guys, stuff that they can reuse. Bumpers, I mean, it's hard enough to get cars and all the parts. We want to buy add-ons. You don't need to spend your money on bumpers, right? I mean, really, that's the goal, the thought with the bumpers.
That's my thought with the economy classes in general, was to make a level playing field, but let the guy that wants to put in the work and the time to build or to use parts that are readily available, where a guy could, go just as easily go spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a postal Mopar rear.
Right.
There's other rear ends out there that I'm slowly integrating and working into the rules that could be put underneath the car, and you can get them with gears and good axles, and the same with the bumpers.
I've never completely understood the argument where you can run like an aftermarket rear end, but you can't run an ambulance rear end that you can get for $250 or
That's
less
what I'm talking
out of the junkyard, but you can run a
that.
postal Mopar rear end. It's like I don't understand that at all.
But the thing of it is, though, Chris, if you want to spend the money, okay, you can buy a postal Mopar. Postal's great people, don't get me wrong, but you can buy a GM 10 bolt-in axles that have half-inch DOM tubing axle tubes and Moser axles and a full spool and gears if you have the money.
And we joke about that being a lifetime buy, but then we saw a 40 spline?
Oh, yeah.
44 spline get sheared off inside the housing.
Oh, they'll break, but
crazy.
a young guy just starting out of the sport's probably not going to have the money to go buy that.
Absolutely.
But he could go to the local U-Pull-It yard and buy a GM 14 bolt, which already has maybe 410s in it. Might not have 513s or something like that, but it's probably got 410s.
Yep.
And he can weld the carrier, and that, I my 14 bolt, I have close to 25 runs on it, and it's just an open carrier or a welded carrier with stock axles, for $150.
Right.
So that's what and the bumpers are the same idea, the same concept. Even around here, guys are making a living bringing them up from down south. And they're going to the U-Pull-It yards and getting them for $50, and God bless them, they can find the junkyards and the time to go pull them and stuff, but they're bringing them up here and selling them for $250, $300, $350, and guys are junking them in one run.
Totally. Well, and I think as we started expanding with Crash Course and all of us going out, we started seeing just because our area does something a certain way doesn't mean it's right. And our area is kind of behind, as far as fix-it plate. Bumpers is one, like you're saying with rears, fix-it plates. I talked to guys out west that we run a car one time and you get bent and pushed on the wall and your car's junk because you don't want to run it again because you want a fresh one for the next time because you can't fix-it plate it and stuff. That's the evolution that we need to start bringing our area where guys can keep running cars, run parts, show up to more shows. Instead of we were going the opposite way where our area was making it so difficult to derby, and that's why we're here with Sherman, because we've almost worked where we're all trying to kind of push towards the same area.
Very similar rule sets.
Yeah, because I'm going to go to Sherman show, and then we take our car over to Gully show, we take it over to here. If we're all getting closer and we're all making it so more guys can get more runs, I think it's going to help the area.
It's going to help the car counts.
Some of those dominoes started falling last year when Total Destruction and Kenny Swingle and the group down in Bath all got on the same page and had uniform rules. So that opened things up for Bath, for Yates County, I think, and that gave them Ontario County too. So there's a couple different options. Then Cuba's got a derby coming up this weekend, I think.
12th.
But I don't. Yeah, it's May the 12th.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know if they're under those unified rules that those guys had put together or not.
I don't know anything about it. I didn't even know there was one there, to be honest. Somebody asked me about it last week, and I'm like, I hadn't heard anything about it. I know I'd heard them talk about one a year ago, but I didn't know that they were having another.
Yeah, there was talk of one happening in August last year too.
About a month ago, at least, that's when I started seeing it.
One thing I think I see more, back in the day, promoters didn't even talk to each other. I mean, it was competition straight. Like
It was cutthroat.
we're not. That's not what we're doing.
The
We're
rules are
helping-
twisted on purpose so that you
Exactly.
can't run that guy's show. You
We're
have
not. That's not what we're going the opposite way. Let's all go to each other's shows. Let's help each other out. That's kind of the atmosphere, and then it will help New York, Pennsylvania, the Northeast. It's our goal.
Yeah, absolutely. The
goal.
Northeast. That's the thing. You know, I mean, you're still going to have. It's good to have different levels. Different, you know, like Jake's running a bone stock class, and we're running a bone stock night in Morris, and you know the Vermont, Massachusetts, that area is pretty bone stock.
Totally.
So we have a lot of those guys coming down the Meltdown. Well, they might decide to bring down a bone stock car now because they're gonna. Well, I'm gonna go run for that guy because he was, you know, it was a good show, or I'm gonna go run for Jake because you know we had a good time down there.
Absolutely.
So we still have different levels of competition, but at the end of the day, you know, most of my bone stock classes could, if they got hung on a wall, they could go run their hometown show with it.
Totally.
You know? So I think that, and we have a secret group that you're not invited to, by the way. So promoters, the promoters that are in the Northeast, we're all in a Facebook chat. So we been sharing ideas on you know, horns and flags and different stuff. Because you're not important.
Insurance.
Insurance.
A lot of insurance changes.
Yeah. A lot
come
of
around
insurance
in
changes this year.
in the Northeast anyway. So
yeah.
You know, just kind of share information.
Sharing information, and it's actually been really nice. It's kind of been a little bit of a breath of fresh air. You don't have to, you know, we're not fighting over shows just yet.
Question coming in on the
I don't think that'll.
question coming in on the live chat, and I think it's worthwhile. It's directed to Jake Sherman. Is, do you pay Josh's appearance fee, or does Jeremy at your show?
My show? Josh is going to pay his own appearance.
Pro bono.
Because he's
I'm running.
he's running. He's driving. So
That's
I'm excited for it, actually.
We tried to pay Josh to stay away, but he won't.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
I'm going to annoy everybody that day.
I know.
Eat it. All of you. Everyone in this room.
Chaos in the Valley. We were talking about that one a little bit before the show got started, and that is coming down the line quick. October the 20th, Chaos in the Valley. That's their fall show. Shenandoah County Fairgrounds in Woodstock, Virginia. Showtime is 5 o'clock. Get your car through tech by 3:30 or you won't run. Compact, stock V8s, modified V8s, and SUV class. Last year, this was the show that drew such support they were able to inject a big chunk of money into the purse. The winner in the compact division walked away with $8,000 at this one. The modifieds are what everybody comes to see. The format is most likely going to be heats and feature for the compacts, and then one and done for the stock V8s, the modified V8s, and the SUVs. We were just down there a couple weeks ago, and for everybody that's been asking, that video is loading as we speak, so that'll be up there. All the Derby action that happens down there at Chaos in the Valley goes to benefit Townsbrook Volunteer Fire Department. Jason and Penny Shipe oversee it online. It's facebook.com, Chaos Valley, and Josh Wilkins is building the raffle car for this one. It's going to be on tour in and around Virginia all summer long as they sell more raffle tickets for that one. Blizzard Bash 2018, it should be rounding out our Demolition Derby season. November the 7th is the heat draws at 7 to 10 o'clock with a party in the pit area. November the 8th, 4 o'clock, start time for the national and qualifying first rounds. November the 9th at 5 o'clock is the limited weld and compact team heat draws at 6 o'clock. Action starts on track with the national and qualifying second round. On the 10th, it's a twin bill at 10 o'clock as the compact and the limited weld team heats and all the B mains for all the teams on deck at 6 o'clock. Second half of that doubleheader, trucks and limited weld, one and done also on that card. And then Championship Sunday rolls around with the Bone Stock, the 80s mod, and all the Team A mains. Online for more details, blizzardbash.com. There was some information circulating about that as they worked through the entry challenges online, but we got some friends of ours that made it into the main draw, which is cool. That was good to see. And I was talking with Arthur Sukut and Randy Bukowski earlier, and they're getting ready to leave middle of next week from Washington to head down to May Mania, and it looks like, I believe, they've also made it into Blizzard Bash. So that'll be fun to see as cool. that evolves. But who knows? I get screen grabs all over the place.
Did you see that this year Smash It has for the raffle car, they're doing a kicker car?
I saw that. Kind of cool.
I've never done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks well put. I can't remember who it was. When after Tim got it painted, he posted who actually built it.
Was it Billy Eastup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Billy Eastup built it.
Oh my God. He knows what he's doing. That thing will be nasty.
Yeah. So
Billy's a good dude.
The first time they've had a kicker car for the raffle car out there.
Cool.
So
That'll be cool.
Looks very well put together. Again, Ziz motor. It's got a big rock cradle. I can't remember who does the transmission, so I'm not going to say, but it had the normal list of parts. Beautiful looking piece. Somebody's going to walk away with something really nice out there. It's going to be cool to see.
I think New York won it twice, right? Pat Osmond won it one time, and then
Pat won a wagon, didn't he?
Pat won a wagon, and
but the year before,
no, it was the year after, and I'm blanking on who it was. Pat won it, and the following year somebody else out near Buffalo Way won it. No, it wasn't.
It was somebody. Yeah, it was somebody else.
It was in that circle.
It was last year.
Yeah, and Pat won it 2 years ago, I think, and then
Talk about a game changer, man.
Nada.
Yeah, I remember we were right next to it. It was fun.
And then it looked like the Bronze were done dealing with that white wagon and put it to bed.
Quickly.
They were all done with that.
They had enough fun, and it was over.
Talk about a game changer, though, winning all that stuff and just going home with all this brand new stuff. I mean, my gosh, would I be excited.
That would be awesome.
Make sure you
Not
buy
bad.
some raffle tickets when you're
It's
there.
worth it. Man, I can't remember who won that. I'm sure somebody's going to tell us.
Yeah.
So a couple things, Chris. I know that we're going to get in Jake's show. Inspection, we're going to open up Friday night.
Friday night, yeah.
We're going to start at 5 o'clock, probably go till...
About 10, we got to shut
10.
down.
We're going to have some giveaways for guys at Pass Tech on Friday night. So
Pass Tech on Friday night.
Pass Tech
not show up and get inspected.
You gotta pass
You
it.
gotta pass Tech.
Let's see, gate and pits. We'll be able
Yeah,
to
we
all day
changed
Saturday.
changed the format a little bit this year. I've talked them into to stop nickel and diamond people. It's,
Thank you.
It used to be a $6. It's if you follow the math real quick, it used to be $6 to get in, $2 to park, and then $20 for the pits.
Correct.
So that's $28. I have agreed to. We've gone to a $10 cover to get in the gate. We've raised the age a little bit, so a couple more kids get in free, and I've actually lowered my pit pass to $15. So instead of $28 to get in and get in the pits, it's going to cost you $25. It's going to cost you $25, so it's going to save you $3. So it's actually a little cheaper to do it that way, just for those who were asking about the pit passes and the admissions, and so we have secured a Cabela's gift card. That's one of our big Friday night giveaways.
If you pass Tech on Friday night.
On Friday, you're going to get a ticket, and we're going to draw one driver is going to walk away with a $500 gift card from Cabela's.
But your car also gets impounded. Your car is not leaving if it passes Tech on
Any
Friday.
cars that pass Tech Friday night will be under secured vision throughout the night, and they will
I
not be
prefer
allowed.
that anyway.
Yes.
I truly do. I've been to shows where they have and haven't, and especially if I'm going to go over there the night before or camp or do something, I'm going to have a couple cocktails and talk and see people.
Exactly.
Well, our
I don't
biggest
want to
fear
worry
is
about the car.
somebody's going to have a couple cocktails and decide to go out and tear up the fairgrounds
At 11:30
at
at night.
11:30 at night. So there's two reasons for security, but
Unless it's a bunch of airbags wired together.
I
or
know
something
nothing
Who would do
about
that?
that.
Who would do that?
No, but I just you could just you put it in there. It's impounded. You forget about it, and then you
We're
just
just
go out with time.
we're just
Don't worry
hoping,
about
and
it.
we do know that we have it's going to be a long day Saturday an inspection. I urge you guys, listen, don't come at the 11th hour. Don't, get there in the morning, get started through Tech.
What time does Tech open Saturday?
Tech open Saturday.
So
I'll be there
light
6
cracks.
o'clock in the morning.
Early, yeah, we've got
We're staying on the grounds.
we've
If
got
you're-
Daniel LeBlanc coming down out of Canada. He's a
Yep, Daniel
camera guy,
LeBlanc out
Dalton.
of Canada. Marty Seeger.
We
is
saw him
gonna-
down in Virginia, Daniel.
Yep,
Marty's
we
going
ran
to
down
help
there. He ran
us.
two-door, right?
He's a W body guy. We
two-door
brought
camera.
him on for this show, and then your own Ben Haas is going to do
The man, the myth.
the filler classes. Help us out with the inspection of the filler classes.
Nice.
And, as long as the rest of our crew.
So we're going to make it pretty easy that day where we're already going to have the 7 heats lined up. You're going to line right up in your heat. Our goal, if you're the kind of guy that thinks you're going to show up in the last half an hour and get by, this is why we're doing this.
Well,
You're not
inspection closes 2 hours before.
okay.
Yep.
2 hours.
11 o'clock.
You need
It's
to get
over.
there early
You will not
because
get through.
if you try to show up late, you're going to get the same tech as everyone else. And
We've all played that game before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, but come on Friday. We were really trying to push the Friday thing. We got a lot of cool stuff happening on Friday. It's just going to make our lives easier.
What about the argument? What's the pushback of, well, if you've got all these cars that had to make fixes and everything, and Tech was running behind, and I was in line at 11 o'clock, but I didn't get through. What's
You're not gonna have that? You're saying with us?
Well, just in general. I mean,
That's
what's
why I wanted to give ourselves a 2 hour window, Chris,
Yep.
before showtime. because normally most of our county fairs around here, and even the previous spring shows in Morris was an hour. We're going with a 2-hour cutoff. The filler classes, so technically I could have 80 cars just in filler classes and 105 in the compacts. That's 185 cars technically on the grounds to be inspected in a 4-hour window.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Right.
So we're hoping to get 25, 30, maybe even 40 cars knocked out Friday night.
Sure.
At least give guys, if they get through Friday night and they can't pass tech, okay, so they got the overnight to make the changes. Say a guy comes in and he's done something really, really drastic and gray and he wants to make a change, he can go away and come back on Saturday. But he already knows the changes he has to make.
Right.
So if those cars don't pass tech on Friday night for whatever reason, they got a jump start. They don't have to come back through tech Saturday until they're fixed.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that that gets us to the point where we can get started on time, because that's one of my pet peeves. I absolutely hate making the fans that have spent money sit in the grandstands for 2 hours and wait for a show to start.
So with yeah, and it's hard to calm them down. The show itself is going to start at, you said 1 o'clock, right? But Power Wheels
will kick off the show
at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, no. We'll try to get the drivers meeting in at 12:15 or so, and then 12:45. Singing the national anthem, and 1 o'clock, let her rip, Tater Chip.
Perfect.
And I want to touch on something real fast. Is Jeffy stepped up for us that at the end of the year we are giving away a running, driving LS motor. You're going to back it right in the back of your truck, take it home, and drop it in something. The way to get it is by running our events. You get a ticket every time you show up. Run as many events as you can for us. You can run multiples in a day. Bring multiple vehicles.
That's the only way you can get a ticket.
Get more tickets is showing up. And it's a big thing. We could all use a fresh LS. And even if you're a compact guy, trust me, there's a million guys that will be standing in line that day to take that out of the back of your truck, because Jeff is going to be firing it up all summer long at our events. And I just fired mine up, and it's exciting.
I've been to a few events where he's fired it up, and everybody, like in the pits or wherever he was up at the swap meet, everybody just stopped what they were doing and turned.
Lit torches fell on the ground. Children came running.
They sound great, you know. But don't forget, Jeff is giving one just the
block.
Can you drop it at my house?
No, this one's for special things.
The last one you dropped at my house worked great.
Yeah.
What about you?
I got paid for that, though.
Yeah.
How about Road Rage? Is everybody all set for that?
Yeah, everything coming along pretty good.
Do you have anybody that can come over to the house and help me?
What's that?
Do you have anybody that can come over to the house and help me?
Yeah,
I'll work for beer.
We got a couple of raffle cars to put together yet, and trying to find somebody to put a nice professional paint job on them, because code enforcement has been by our house again, so we thought it'd be nice if we put them in the parade this year to show our local.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Smart.
And Jason's going to come up at the show, and I'm going to try to talk him into painting. I got a 76 coupe driver, paint that up, and we'll park that out in front of the town hall for all summer, just to remind them who we are and
absolutely
that we're here and we're a business, and
awesome.
Thanks for coming.
Good for you.
No, everything's going out pretty good. Everything else is falling in place, other than maybe we just got to worry about weather really at this point.
Yeah.
Looks like with the truck teams, we're going to have 3 of the 4, which is still going to be pretty good. All the purses have all been from day one guaranteed. I don't care if one team shows; they're walking away with all the money. Doesn't matter. But everything else is feeling pretty good. The compacts are full. The team compacts are full. The team trucks more or less are full. I don't think anybody's going to start building at this time for another team. Maybe, I don't know. But they're all set. We still got a few V8 teams left. If anybody wants to come in for that, they'll probably be open right up until showtime. The one and dones, 1,000 to win, bone stock one and dones, 15 car limit. And this is a throwback to the days where people just wanted to knock the windows out and run, have a good time.
Sure.
Doesn't matter what you bring. If you actually look at the entry, it's a $50 entry. But if you start looking at the entry to get into the show and pit passes, driver's lunch and all that kind of stuff, you're going to break even by bringing a car and a chance of winning $1,000. So there's a lot of value there. So that'd be a good time. Knock the glass out, run, enjoy it, and crush the car the next day. It doesn't cost you anything.
Probably cheaper to bring a car.
It is. Yeah. Yep. It'll be
probably, the way you just explained it. It's probably cheaper to bring.
You bring a car for the bone stock. At the end of the day, you're probably going to save money. as far as what you spend there at the track. And then you got a chance, like I said, of walking away with 1,000 cash.
1 out of 15
heat,
chance to walk away with $1,500 or $100,000.
Yeah, so bring a scrap car, knock the glass out, run it, maybe make some money. If not, you'll run and get to enjoy the show. So that's all pretty good. I do expect all of them to fill. The junk run, I think, is probably right there. With the people that said they sent checks, it'll be full, but they haven't got there yet. So there is still a couple openings here. Compacts are getting really close, and the V8s are getting pretty close to filling. So they'll all be full. So if you want to get into those and make sure you register and get your spot, if you show up at the day of, you might not make it in. Do what we can for you, but it's 15 cars max.
Yeah, I'm holding tight to my 20.
That's
too.
it.
I can't.
15 cars max.
We're not going to have time for one.
You can hope to get.
So.
You know, if you show up that day, you want to get lucky. Try to bring something with you. Great. If we can get you in, great. If you can't, well, enjoy the show.
And if you've never been to the track that Sherman Show is on, it's an awesome track. I know a lot of people complain that it's small. It's actually one of my favorites. It's fast-paced. Chris calls it self-cleaning, which it so is.
Yeah.
But there are some ins and outs of that track that knowing that track is a benefit.
How many times you in there?
Twice.
How many times you run there?
78.
50, 60, 70 times.
I just wanted to know.
One time I took 6 cars there at a county fair. 6. I didn't qualify one time. Brett, Robbie, Richie beat me car after car after
you kept
car.
coming back, man.
Oh yeah, like an idiot.
So back to Road Rage Entertainment. What would it take to guarantee that Decker's team draws the Relier Hansen team for the Heat?
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, what I mean, how big of a donation would it take to guarantee that to happen?
First off,
can't
let me
be
stop
bought.
you right there because you're playing with house money now.
Oh no, I have some stash.
Okay, all right, just being clear. That's Brian
Funny
Tompkins'
Brian
money.
would say that. You know, Brian will never step into that gauntlet, but he'll sure poke your pride, won't you? It better be fair. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I can't be bought, so you don't worry about that.
Thank you.
But outside of that,
I've jumped Pete's ass.
Wait a second.
If he draws me, I'm with
Jake can't be bought, but that show can be sponsored.
Let's move right away from that. A couple guys have asked Friday night, the night before, you can camp if you want to come up, show up. The way I'm looking at it is the fair board and the contract that I signed with them, they want $50 for each camper or campsite or whatever you want to say. That's their money. I'm going to collect it, but I'm not going to. There's no fee or anything that's involved with me. I don't care what you bring. You bring 6 tents and you want to stick them up on a spot. You bring a camper. You want to set it up. You want to be in the pits. You want to be out in the camping area. You want to. Whatever you want to do. I got to collect the $50 and give it to the fair board per my contract. But you guys, anybody's welcome to come. I know there's going to be at least a few people, so we probably set up a little fire or something like that. Have some sodas beforehand and go from there.
And food's close there. Like there's food.
There's food right across the street.
Dunkin' Donuts,
McDonald's,
Arby's.
Donuts,
There's a couple bars in town, so if you wanted to go chill with your friends, I mean, there's stuff to do. It's not like you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's right off the interstate. And you got the city of Binghamton right down the road, and there's plenty of stuff to do.
What time's inspection open up on Saturday?
Inspection's going to open up early. Actually, I was just talking with Nick King earlier on the phone, and he wants to get at it like early. I was thinking maybe like 9ish or something like that, and he said, "Hey, when's daylight?" So he's ready to come to New York, and he's ready to look at some cars. So we'll probably open it up, pretty much the same thing, daylight, maybe like 7 a.m., something like that in that area. You get there, and we'll make sure that you get in as soon as our tech guys are ready to go.
Next full of piss and vinegar, as long as he's not stuck on a boat.
Yeah, that's it. If he's taking a boat from Ohio to New York, then he went the wrong way. But it'll be a good time. We got Ed Brewster coming up, and they're going to have the RC Derby. It's going to be right in the vendors area, right in the middle of everything, and not out on the track because a lot of people have a hard time sitting up in the stands and kind of seeing it. We want to make it a little more personable, so where people can actually get right around and watch. We have we co-sponsored an RC car to give away for his Cars for Kids program. If you guys haven't seen that, hop on his website and look. It'd be great if we could give away a couple more cars to young spectators that are there and get them into the sport. So far, we've gotten 7 Power Wheels cars donated, brand new. I'm an expert at building Power Wheels now, so if you guys ever need one done, I can get them right put together. But they will be all same thing, given away for free to spectators. So you show up and you guys might be leaving with a brand new Power Wheels, which I think is awesome, and letting these kids go. Got the Kids Zone, it's going to be there also. Bainbridge Auto Zone has sponsored that, and there's going to be some teachers there, and there are going to be activities, some games, all sorts of stuff. A fun area for the kids to hang out while mom and dad are either walking through the pits or checking stuff out or looking at vendors or anything like that. The Power Wheels are going to start at 2 o'clock sharp. That's how the event's going to start, with the Power Wheels. They're going to run, they're going to do their thing, and then we're going to get right into running heats. For the drivers, kind of like what Spinning Wheels is doing, I want to get the drivers there as early as possible to get through tech. So one of the things we're going to do is, I believe it's going to be Nina's. I was going to sponsor this portion, but any driver that comes in and passes tech, gets into the quarantine area, we're going to have a little tent set up, and we're going to have it's just going to be for drivers. You pass tech, we're going to give you lunch. So you come in, and we'll, thanking you for getting there early, helping our tech guys out. And, if you do get there early, lunch will be on us, and that way you don't have to worry about that extra expense.
I'll plan on buying my own lunch then.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's awesome. You're going to be cutting, huh?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
We're also going to have a fix-it station there, right outside of tech, for the one and done guys. I know when I go to one and done shows, I usually don't bring torches and stuff. I usually pass tech in the first try. I'm not much of a gray area builder, but we'll have some torches there. We'll have chain, threaded rod, wire, bolts. The typical stuff. So if you're a one and done guy or a new guy that's coming to the show and you have a small issue, we'll fix it right there. And that should keep the tech going a little bit faster without getting all the retechs coming through for small and silly stuff. Your gas tank's a little loose, or your battery box, or if you got this or that, we can fix it right there at the spot. Other than that, it's gonna come together. It's gonna go. Right after the show, we got a band lined up. So hang out after the show. I'm expecting the show to be done, the derby portion, before 7 o'clock. I don't want it to go into the wee hours and people they don't get an opportunity to hang out and do stuff. So right after the show, the band will kick in. Everybody can go hang out, and then we'll still have plenty of daylight to load cars and do other kind of stuff before that. So.
Well, the town of Whitney Point also, after midnight, you start getting town code ordinances against you. Yeah, at 28 in the morning. Try stay like before midnight.
And I just want to say I do appreciate that, Josh. Is now I do have all these extra special permits that I have to get.
Yes,
thank you
because of me. Oh,
thank you.
Well.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate
you're
that.
Welcome.
No, it'll be a good time.
You're not in compliance with Decker Resolution 2.031?
Things didn't go over good.
No, but we're good. The permits are there. The insurance is there. The grounds are rented. It's all a go. So it's going to be a good time. I want to have families show up and with the kids zone and that kind of thing. One thing I do want to mention is we made a little bit of a change in the vendor area. Given some situations that I've run into, we're just gonna open it right up to almost like a swap meet style. So there's no vendor fee for like used swap meet parts, that kind of stuff. If you're gonna come and bring new parts and vend new parts, I'd appreciate it. You can buy and not that I'm looking for anything, but I want to get something for the drivers. So if you want to put up, if you're selling battery boxes and you want to make it a hard luck and give away a couple battery boxes to the drivers, something like that, that would be appreciated. But if you're bringing up bumpers and old boxes and wheels and tires and all that kind of stuff, and you want to sit out there and you want to vend kind of a swap meet style, no fee. Come on in, set it all up, and it should be good to go. And that includes that includes everything from any derby parts or anything like that. I think that was a better option than limiting it to just having one person or maybe a couple people.
we need to get vendors our area, and like you say, hey, maybe you get a guy that sells a couple things and turns into a guy that starts selling vendor, eventually long term becomes an actual vendor.
Yeah. And I spoke with a few people. As a matter of fact, I just spoke with a guy, a tire vendor, about 10 minutes for the show. And we got things to look at for next year. But it is the weekend after Bash, so I've been out to Bash. I know how the Bash hangover works, and so that's a little bit of a damper. We got guys going to sell out basically their inventory at Bash, and here my show's a week later. So obviously, I think there's some things that we can do, and I think there's some things that I can change that will make things for vendors to show up a little more enticing. I know as a driver, I love going to shows and seeing a lot of vendors and parts, and you can pick them up and you talk to them.
Look at them.
Talk to
totally.
That's the only time I really get to see guys like Muse and at shows where they're vending at, and and you get to pick their brain a little bit and have conversations and ask them, hey, how you doing this, or what do you think about this, and
every time you see them, they have new stuff on them tables.
Yes,
I mean, every time I go to Muse's table, the guy's coming up with stuff. Everyone's like that. Jeff's always coming up with new stuff. Narrett's always coming up with new stuff. Brodzinski's always coming up with new stuff.
Well, I seen Jeffy down at Chaos in the Valley. We were talking, and just simple changes to his. I picked up a bunch of Corollas in a package deal, so I was thinking, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them. Probably give them to neighbor kids for a local show. I usually try to give away about between 5 and 10 cars a year, depending on if they want to come in and put in some garage time. We'll get them a seat and we'll let them drive. But I got some of these Corollas, so I talked to him about headers, and he was talking about the differences between
8-bolt and 9-bolt.
The very small differences between the years and cubics of the header. So he started putting slots in them, which is something that so now you don't have to worry about trying to grind out headers and re-drill holes and that kind of stuff. So they're all slotted; they'll fit everything now.
Right,
so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just that little stuff like that, because there's nothing more frustrating on, especially a new guy. I'll have a kid come up and I say, hey, throw this header on the car, and he's embarrassed to come over and ask me because he can't get the bolt in, and just to find out that it was just something that needed to be re-drilled or something like that. And so it's great for to think about the drivers and make a few changes and make some R&D work, and I was happy for Jeff to do that because now it'll be a lot easier for me.
We got to stay ahead of the curve because everybody's, like the vendor world, man. Think about every year it's like progressing. There's a lot of guys fighting for that business.
Well, you're talking about vendors. I was at Casey Smith's, I think it's SMW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Smith Metalworks.
Yes.
Yep.
What a absolutely mind-blowing place it was.
I wish I knew you were stopping in. I would have grabbed or had you grab a couple things.
Yeah, I really wasn't planning on it, but I was I was 10 minutes off 80, so I stopped in and seen them and looked at the bumpers that they have and possible options for us for next year, and talked with them quite a bit. And what an absolutely phenomenal place he's got down there, and
They're great guys.
he was explaining things to me about metal that probably I won't retain, but it sounded really good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I guess Big Rock's got a new cradle that's debuting at Bash for Cash. I was told there's one being run at Bash for Cash. I think. Or he's bringing them to Bash for Cash.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it was.
He's bringing one. The one that I saw was one he built for Bobby. And I know Bobby's picking it up, but I don't know if he didn't say if anyone was running the same thing there or not.
It's pretty awesome.
That's
I posted Smith's website on Northeast this afternoon when I got there. So if anybody wants to go check them out, give them a shout, look them up. One of the new up and coming. I didn't really know much about them, honestly.
Great guys.
You don't hear much about them. I seen them a couple years ago down in Florida at the team show.
Yep.
And,
They had that Brown Imperial, the team that had Casey's Brown Imperial on it at Stoneboro, I think a year ago. That night that I drove up from Stoneboro to come up for San Filippo.
Yes.
And Smith Metalworks was around before that. We remember Chance.
Yeah.
He got shoved up on. He had that Mopar and got shoved up on the berm at Clarion that same night. We talked about Rick and Mike going at it.
Yep.
But they've been around a while.
But I just never heard of them much, really. I mean, he's got a huge other business, and now he's starting to make.
Todd Soyopa said, "You got to start selling to other people." And he's like, "Okay."
Their quality of stuff, though,
Amazing.
it is like perfection.
Amazing.
It really is.
Amazing.
The quality is just amazing. If you want quality products, he's the guy to go to. You know?
I think you're going to start seeing that more in the Derby world. I think when you look at 5 years ago, I mean, and I say copycat or not, however guys want to take that, but there was a lot of maybe like I would say fly-by-night guys putting together stuff.
Totally.
And I think a lot of them have kind of dwindled out, and I think you're going to see more.
The guys that are left are the guys that
yes.
are taking the product and making a
Yes.
little tweak here or there, or listening to the drivers and making that necessary change, and they're reselling that researched product. And
Well, like Muse went and took shifters, right? We were all buying shifters. There was only one price.
Yeah.
Muse went and said, like, okay, I'm making an economy now.
Yeah.
He was selling 1 million of them. Remember we were trying to get a bunch for San Filippo last year. We had to get 10. He's like, well, I got 40 to make or something. It's like, oh my God, because yes, I think it goes both ways. There's always going to be that guy that wants to go as cheap as he can. Find me that as cheap as I can. But I think it's also changing where there's a lot of guys that I only want to buy it once. I want to install it once and buy it once, and it lasts.
the problem with them shifters, though, I run a rod for a long time, rod shifter, and I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah.
But you sit there and drive that car with a ratchet style shifter like mounted off your center bar, and you're like, why in the hell have I ever done it any different?
Oh, you ain't
God,
kidding.
it's like a dream.
It's so much. It's just.
It's like a video game.
It's just to say, it's like playing a video game, man. It's not fighting with dropping the damn rod or fighting
falling
with
between your
stabbing
seat.
yourself.
Oh,
See, this is what the problem is with drivers like us is. I used to be able to get 10 to 15 seconds out of finding a gear.
That's true.
So
That is true.
So if I had to change gears, say 10 times, I lasted a whole another minute in the Derby.
Shit, you've outlasted about me. You just
so
finding
true.
5 gears.
It is very true.
But now you don't get that excuse. Now it's just click and you're in, you're ready to go.
There's so many parts out there now.
But to warn you though, I mean, I know a lot of guys that switch over to cable shifters. You got to get them set up right.
Yeah, they're
got to
burning
take the time to set them up right.
And you got to.
If you get that paw in there in the wrong spot, you're going to be burning them up. And
don't mount it right next to your rib cage.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm telling guys that constantly. Like I put mine on my outside. I like to slide mine up and down the bar, my hand. But I see guys putting them right on top, just sticking them right on top. That's so dangerous. That is just metal sticking out your arm, your shoulder.
When you get in your car for the last time or the first time, sit in that seat and throw yourself every way imaginable.
Right.
And if you can hit anything with your head, your ribs, your neck, your arms,
change
move
it. Change it.
Move it.
Change it. Totally.
I always set the sharp part of the plate. I actually set my shifter down on the passenger side of the center bar. I set it like 2 inches below it.
Me too.
The only thing I could possibly hit would be the actual shifter.
The bar.
But I run a shoulder belt, so I make it so my shoulder belt locks before my head can hit that shifter.
Smart.
What did you ever figure out what your head hit last year at Waterloo when you took the
I'm
nap,
pretty sure it was the B pillar.
Just wondered. It must be you didn't have the belt quite tight enough for that.
Well, I didn't really expect to hit the B pillar quite that hard.
Just checking.
Them cars don't move,
No.
surprisingly.
No, it's not very surprising. They don't.
Yep.
It was funny. We kind of changed subject a little bit, but Seneca County ran the mods last year. And it was funny to watch so many people had never seen cars like that before.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, these cars are dangerous. And I'm like, no, you're not. That's the safest car you got out there. That's,
But they don't give.
They don't give.
Yeah, no. Like say when you talk about safest car, yeah, no. I mean, yes, the chances of another car getting inside to get you is almost none.
Yeah, but hitting that headlight to headlight is not as smart.
But that's right. It. When you.
But
take
the
away
car,
the
when the
pressure.
car's bend, the car absorbs the energy, not your body.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, absolutely.
So,
Old iron. Everybody keeps saying, let's go back to old iron. Let's go back to old iron, like old ways. The problem with that is, 20 years ago, guys weren't taking small block Chevys and beefing them up to 450 horse and
With
putting 513
480s,
gears or
exactly.
486s.
Exactly.
And we were discussing the other day, how come I never, for 20 years probably, I never broke a transmission.
Yeah.
Never broke a bell housing on a transmission. After my first built Vic, and me trying to take the technology or what I was learning outside of New York and put into a stock car, I started breaking transmissions. And I couldn't figure out why. And then I went back to a stock style motor mount. Mm-hmm. I haven't broke a transmission since.
Yep.
Because the trans mounts or the motor mounts and the tranny mount, which is the tranny mount's $9 at Napa, so it ain't very well made. That'll break, and your motor mounts will actually peel apart and bend before you snap the bell.
Just like we talked about earlier, just because you can't
don't mean it's a good thing.
Don't mean it's a good idea.
Right.
You know, these
And
the
you gotta-
HD mounts that they came out with the super hard polyethylene bushings do not allow that motor to move. And now we're putting something against that can't move against a cradle that's not going to give, a lower H cradle that's not going to give, where the old Chevy clams, you used to take them Chevy clams out and they'd be twisted 9 ways to Sunday.
That's very true.
But they never broke a bell.
Yes.
You can't just buy one piece of the puzzle and expect it to work. You
can't. You
gotta
have
build
to
everything
put
off
it
each
all
other.
together. And you have to know how to put it together, or you're still going to be pissing in the wind.
That's it.
That's another great quote.
Yeah.
But and Decker hit it on it a lot earlier. You know, when I really started looking into doing the promotion side, you know, he was really helpful in asking questions, and I always ask. I feel like I'm an idiot if I don't ask, because why not? You know, you can always tell me no, but if I don't ask, then I won't know.
Exactly.
And he's been real helpful as far as, you know, I think their vision and my vision on what derbies can be and should be, I think, are pretty much in line. You know, where it can be better. It can be better in the Northeast. We owe the drivers more. We owe the fans more than really what, in my opinion, what they've been getting.
Yes.
And I'm not bad mouthing anybody when I say this. It's just a culture around derbies in the Northeast.
We
has
have
been-
traveled outside of the
Yes.
Northeast, though, Jake, and seen it. There's
That's
guys
it.
that haven't,
Mhm.
and they don't know the difference.
Exactly.
You know,
They don't know. I mean,
But it's the culture. It's not, like I said, it's not the fault of any. It's not the fault.
it's
of-
nobody's
yeah,
fault.
it's just the way it's been.
The derby world got smaller quick.
Yep.
And now everybody can. We go out there and we see how the drivers are treated, and it's like, wow.
Night and day.
Yeah.
Would I have loved to have been treated the way some of
Yes.
them guys in Utah are being treated now?
Yes.
20 years ago,
Yes.
I might have been a professional derby
Yes.
driver.
Yeah.
I swear to God. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
you know,
And I think especially when you get into like tech and
absolutely.
and I've been through techs before where it's like, I didn't even have to cut and I felt violated.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like, wow, and it's just
The
The
level
way
of-
they talk to you.
just
The level
way
of
they talk to you,
respect,
treat
mutual
you,
respect from
Yeah.
the driver to the tech guy, and
Yes.
and back and
back
forth.
and forth. It's
You
not
know,
just
and
a-
drivers are just as much to blame. I mean, I've seen, I see it too. I've been in the pits, and I kind of joked around. I did a little bit of Facebook Live down there, but I joke around with the drivers too, because you could sit in tech and listen to the drivers. It's, no matter where you go in the country, it's the same. Where somebody's brought in just an absolute weapon of a car, and they get to tech, and it's always the same. Oh, yeah, I just threw this together. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. No, I wasn't really trying to, you know what I mean? But it's the same line. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody's trying to get, through what they can, and I get it. But the drivers got to respect the tech guys, too. I've seen where somebody's did something just way out of line, and the tech guy said something, and F you and F this and F this show and F
You
everybody
can't be
around
like
it. It's
that.
like, wait a
Yeah,
minute,
that's not
you're the
respect.
guy that brought the car.
If you're going to blatantly cheat, you have
Yes.
to be able to. You have to be willing to accept the consequences.
Exactly.
The issue that Ben says is constantly. I said it to Sherman today. A guy talks himself into why he's right for 6 weeks, and then in 3 minutes you tell him why he's wrong, and he's like, "No, I know that I'm right on this," and you're not. Even though you talked yourself into it, I just told you why you're wrong in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's where I think some guys get that emotion. You have to understand that if you're going to push those rules,
I like
you're probably going to have to gut them.
the line. The line that I like though is, well, it's not really doing anything.
Then why'd you do it?
So why did explain to me if it's not doing anything, then why did you do it?
And why are you pitching about cutting it?
Right. If it's not helping you in any way, shape, or form, or strengthening that car in any way, shape, or form, why did you take the 3.5 hours to
Right.
to manufacture this part and do it exactly like that? We all know the answer. We're drivers.
Right.
That's the thing. The promoters now in our area are all. A lot of them are drivers.
Right.
Still drivers.
Yes.
We all go to each other's show. We go to other promoter shows.
Yes.
We still drive. We do the same shit you do.
Yes. Absolutely right. I think that's what our area really needed was guys that had the passion of the drivers stepping up to the next level. And look, we're all in the same age pretty much. We all started out young together, competing against each other at the same age in the same places, and now it's time for us to step to the next level.
I think that's why we're getting the support that we're getting across the board, is because drivers are absolutely seeing that, you know, we're trying to do what the area needs. It's not necessarily about us or individuals. It's, you know, we're working together hand in hand and trying to bring the sport as a whole to another level in the Northeast.
It's better for everybody.
I think so. If you have 80 cars and 25 of them are still running, I'm going to have 25 more cars.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if I have,
That's true.
You know, if I have, say I fill the Mini Meltdown, I have 185 cars and there's 60 left over. Somebody in our area, because we're all pretty close to rules, is going to pick up 60 cars. Because let's face it, who wants to sit on a car all winter?
No.
You know,
Nobody wants to sit on a car all summer.
No,
all summer.
true.
And as a Derby driver, if I have something that's really close to running, I'm gonna find a show to go to. Whether it's 2 hours or 5 hours, if I want to go, and that's, you know, the beautiful thing about I had this discussion with my buddy. He's a round racer, and in order for him to be competitive, he has got to be in the garage 4 to 5 days a week, working on that race car, and he has to go Friday nights to race. Derby car, if I don't want to go, I don't have to go.
Yeah,
you know. So that's the beautiful thing about that. But like I said, guys aren't going to sit on car. If we can get closer to rules, you know, John's made some changes to his rules. We've made some changes to our rules. You guys have made changes to your rules to try to get everybody closer to the same page of music. I don't mind cutting a few things, but I don't want to have to revamp the whole damn car.
That's it.
I was down in Virginia for last fall for the Chaos in the Valley show, and I didn't know the guy that was going through tech, and the techs didn't know that I was there, and I came up behind him, but I knew the guy that was under the car teching, and his back was to me, and I stuck my head in the engine bay, and I pointed right down to it. I said, "Why are you making us cut this? The last 3 cars that came through tech had no problem with this at all, and now you're going to make us cut it." And I just went off, and he came boiling out from underneath there. I thought he was going to deck me. So he came out of there, and he's fixing his head. He's all twitching. I go, "Good to see you again." Step right here. So we chat and everything, and the guy leaning on the course report looks around and goes, so like, I don't have to cut that. And I'm like, "Oh no, you definitely cheated." I pat him on the arm and walked away.
Oh shit! So no one likes you.
That's why. It's one of the, there's a list really, really long. That's one of them.
I was going to say that's why everybody loves you, because you can get away with that.
It is on the list.
You just have to know Chris to get his humor sometimes.
It's the list. Yeah. It's not the first thing. It's on the list, but it's not number one.
Yeah. Hey, I want to bring up one thing real quick.
Okay.
Our group working towards something. Okay, because we are putting on these derbies, but the real thing, the thing that's closest to all of our hearts, I think, is San Filippo. San Filippo 3 is going to be absolutely insane. I'm promising it. The stuff that's going on, planned, is going to be cool. But we have a $50,000
goal.
We're going to hit it. We're going to try to hit it. And I'm telling you, we're going to work all summer. We're going to work with you guys. Everything is going to be working towards this $50,000 goal this year, and we're going to try to hit this. Yeah, just so you know.
Nice.
So just stick with us, because there's a lot of good stuff going on. We really appreciate the sport. I mean, our classes are
the 2-man extreme class filled in. By the time we got everything ironed out, it was about an hour.
Yes,
it was filled in about 8 seconds.
I was going to say it was filled in about 8 seconds.
If you didn't pay for your ticket immediately, it kicked you back out, because guys thought they could put the ticket in the cart and leave it there for a couple of days and then pay for it. That didn't happen that way.
We don't know what to do, because it's tough, because when you open something up, it really was like 8 seconds.
Yeah.
It really was.
That was probably the system.
I pushed everyone to go on at 8 o'clock on the dot. Well, the problem is everyone went on at 8 o'clock on the dot, and at 8:00.08 it was done. And I don't know. We've talked about what is the right way, because we want to make it fair. We don't want people to ever feel like they got gypped out of getting a spot. But what's the right way when there's that much interest in it? So it's something that all of us have to talk about. Is like, what's the next way?
What about doing a waffle?
No.
Well, I thought about like a bingo ball. Give everybody like a month.
Yeah, like that.
If you want to get into it, you get a month to sign up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then your names are going to be put into a bingo ball thing, and we're only going to draw 15.
Yeah, that's cool.
You don't pay until you draw.
They had something like that. Remember, they did that a couple years ago.
You guys, that's where I got the idea from. Somewhere
With,
out Nebraska, maybe it was.
Yeah, it wasn't. Was it King of the Ring?
It was a big money show.
It was King of the Ring.
Big money show.
Or the one in Geneva.
No.
The Midwest Smash Fest.
I remember us pulling teams here.
Yeah,
it was with
you did it via Skype or something.
It was. I'm sure it was King of the Ring.
Minnesota.
No,
it was not Minnesota. It was Nebraska. It was either Geneva or it was the Midwest Smash Fest.
It was
one or the other.
With the guy with the tremendous amount of sponsorships.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
They were on Skype. There was 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yes, that is it. But is there a negative to
doing
it that way? I can't
remember what I had for dinner last night, but I can remember that.
But if we go that way and decide to do it that way, is there a negative that we don't see on that? Maybe that is what we try next.
Well,
we thought opening it up and just say, hey, come on at 8, but my God,
I'm still getting messages about guys wanting. Do you have any spots left?
I'm getting them too. I get people say, can you make me a spot? Can you slide me in there?
We actually put in 5 additional spots this year than we had last year. We only had, out of the 15, we only had, I think, 11 showed up. We gave those guys opportunity to get in prior. We had, 6 returning? 6 returning?
Only 6 coming back. Yeah,
7 returning, and open it up, and the 13 spots went like that.
Instant.
Awesome.
But we got some pretty good stuff coming down the line. We're working on. We can't really say a lot of things right now because it's not in the works. But we're hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll.
Matt Vern Newcomb and Chad Bumgarner.
Yes.
Were the guys.
Yeah, Chad was.
I wonder. I should talk to them if there was any negative of that.
That's it. One thing, if I can bring up real quick, or I don't want to say shout out or whatever. A lot of the guys in the Northeast know Tony Alexander.
Yes.
His mom passed away.
No, his dad.
His dad.
Yeah.
His dad passed away.
Unexpected. It was a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
Real big into the Derby field, and he was kind of like the anchor on their team. He's bringing a team out to my show, and I know that if we could just send him some good karma because he's trying to get a car together with that kind of loss. I think he could use it. So
very good call out there. I like that.
Absolutely, Chris, you should have remembered that.
I missed it at the top because I was talking to him about some artwork stuff, and then he said, "Don't worry about it because I'm not going to need it." Yep, I forgot that one. Anybody else? Anything? Bueller?
Oh, we could sit here and talk all night probably. But
I've seen it happen.
I think the Northeast is about to have some really great stuff happening.
I think so too.
I hope so.
Just keep supporting it. Keep showing up. Tell your friends and family. It does make a difference when you tell your friend and your dad and your brother and your sister. I know it's only a little bit, but spread it out there. And when you see us sharing stuff, share it.
Yeah,
please do it.
Go to the if you're not in the Spinning Wheels group already, I screwed up in the Northeast group and made it a secret group, so you can't share nothing out of it. So anything to do
just
with
go change
spinning,
it back.
I can't. I've got too many members.
Yeah.
I've got 18,000 members now. So
much for secret.
If you're in the Northeast, I want to try to keep. If you're going to run my Spinning Wheel show, or you're going to come watch the Spinning Wheel show, then go join the Spinning Wheels Facebook. Don't post anything for sale. It's just an information Facebook group. But anything that's posted there, you can be shared, and please do share to your. The crowds are what's going to make the drivers happy. The more people we can get in the stands, we start filling stands.
Not going to upset the promoters.
We're going to start getting payouts up, and that's the way it's going to work. So if Josh, myself, or Brian, or Josh Buell put anything out about Spinning Wheels or any of our shows, please feel free to share off the Spinning Wheels show, and I'm sure Jake doesn't mind it either. Just help us out and bring cars, and if you can't bring a car or don't want to bring a car or whatever, pay the admission and bring your friends and family and come watch.
See the vendors and get you a belly
see
full
the vendors
and watch a good show.
And make sure you tell the sponsors that we put out there. If you use them sponsors, make sure you tell them, hey, where you found them, so they know their money's going to a good spot. And other than that, man, just keep up because the summer's going to go fast.
And certainly is we're gonna be a Blizzard Bash before we know it, for sure. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us for a while. Glad to know that Vic Whaley's doing all right. Again, congratulations out to the winners from this weekend. Good to hear that some victories are coming back to the Northeast. I think that's going to do it for episode number 228 here at the North Park Building at Academy Square. We appreciate all the listeners. We'll see you back again here next week.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLinks1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.